Spider-Man does whatever that Spider-Man can.
Welcome to another episode of Undisputed Nerds. Wow, what an intro! I am one of your hosts. I am Zane Reed, aka Zane Taicho, the captain. As always, I am joined by the fantastic gentlemanly gamer.
Hello, everyone in Radio Land. I hope my little intro song gave you an impression of today's episode and what we'll be talking about, and also how much I might have enjoyed it. I wince every single time you say the captain, by the way, now. Like, every single time you say Taicho, the captain. It's like, oh, no. Because when I think of great captains in the world, I obviously think of Captain Jack Sparrow, I think of Captain Picard, and I think of Captain Russell Crowe in Master and Commander. But, I mean, you...
That's... Wow!
that level of acting talent and not respect Russell Crowe. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah. Now you've mentioned it.
Exactly.
Who could question what?
Exactly. I could have said Gina Davis in that Treasure Island film that she did. Captain Flint. I should have said Captain Flint. I love Black Sails. I've made a mistake. Ooh. I've made a mistake with my life, guys. How are you, Zane?
I'm good, thank you. Very well. What a week! What a week we've had.
I know. It's been mad. It's been mad. We'll So obviously we've had Hawkeye revelations this week, guys, which we'll probably talk about in our Hawkeye recap maybe next week when the finales come out. But there's also The Matrix out next week, so we may have to forgo news next week and just do a double shebang of Matrix and Hawkeye, that classic team up everyone was looking for. But it's been a hell of a week. How are you? I mean, Christmas is coming, Zane. Are you prepared for Christmas? Have you wrapped those gifts? Have you wrapped yourself?
Wow. No, nothing yet. I'm still shopping. I'm still trying to figure out ideas and all that jazz. How about yourself? Have you got everything together?
You mean my life? No. I mean, you know me by now. You know, I'm what can only be described as a last minute boy. If I was a superhero, that would be my power. Last minute boy. Like I leave it until right to the last minute, and then I'm in there. And I'm saving the day. But like there will be a lot of casualties, guys. Let me put it that way, because I will leave it right to the last minute. I just was curious when you were doing your Christmas shopping, if you guys are a frequent follower of Zane Taicho on the gram and on the World Wide Web, as it's sometimes known to us old people, then you will know that he's been rocking out to Block Party and then to Shakira all week. So I'm very curious as to if you were doing your Christmas shopping whilst listening to Flux.
Actually, it was the weekend. You know, Lord, give me grace.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Gets me in the festive spirit, as it is. You know, I just like the idea of, like, you know, bearing in mind we talked a couple of weeks ago about the Christmas movies. It's just we were hoping for some Turbo Men. That's what I was looking for. All we found was a terrible movie. Anyway, I watched Home Alone 2 last night as well. Did you really? As
part of our community, we've been doing community movie nights on my Twitch server, and so we watched Home Alone 2 as a festive Christmas movie. I still maintain it's better than the first one. I still do. The this is going to sound really weird. The fight sequences in it are so much better.
Is there fight sequences?
You know, when the traps at the end. You know, when they go into the house and they get mullered.
I don't know. All I know is that pigeon lady is more scarier than the shovel man in the first one. Politely disagree. That is, shovel man gives the weirdest looks. Pigeon lady's very nice and accommodating. She's all kind of like smiles, whereas the old man is like. But she has the power of pigeons. All of New York's pigeons.
She doesn't have the power of pigeons. She's got some bird seed. Is that what you say every time you go to a bird sanctuary? They've got the power of pigeons.
Like there's some
Good
sort
God,
of
my significant other. They've got the power of pigeons. Did you think that's what the Michael Keaton film Birdman was about?
I haven't seen Birdman, actually.
What?
No, I haven't seen it.
Guys, honestly, he hosts 2 podcasts, guys. Can you believe that? Time for a cheap plug for Undisputed Anime. Go for it.
Check out Undisputed Anime. It's where we talk about anime and manga. Yeah, it's really cool. We'll be talking about Jump Fest, which is today.
I had a relative of mine, which you can narrow that down because I've only got parents and a brother. But I had a relative of mine talking about your Undisputed Anime podcast to me yesterday when we went to see Spider-Man, and he was talking about the fact that he actually enjoyed Cowboy Bebop and was quite sad it was cancelled. But he did like the anime more. So
yeah. I think that's a universal agreement.
That's all I've got. For anime. Anyway. So obviously, guys, this week we will be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm going to precursor this. There will be massive spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. If you have not seen it yet, shut off this podcast or listen to the news and then shut it off. Go and watch Spider-Man No Way Home because it is worth it. And then come back to us because there will be huge, and there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things to spoil in this film. A lot of things.
I'll try and put time codes in as well, so that people know when exactly the spoiler stuff will happen.
What a legend! But before we do Spider-Man No Way Home, what do we always do, Zane? What do we always do? Almost always.
We like to sit back in our chairs and we like to, for Gentleman Gamer, to talk about some tips and bits that he's seen over the week and to regale some news.
I'm still waiting for a theme tune, guys. So if you've got a theme tune, anything around tips and bits, that's what I'm looking for. Tips and bits. That's what I'm looking for. Anything around that. Anyway, yes. So kicking off. Let's kick off with Marvel news this week, and then we'll loop it all the way back round. So there has been... So obviously, Zane, as we know, probably No Way Home was probably one of the biggest movies that Marvel have ever done. One of the other biggest movies that they've ever done was Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, which was directed by the Russo brothers. Very successfully, in addition to obviously Captain America movies. They decided to take a break after Avengers Endgame because it turned out to be the most successful comic book movie of all time and the most profitable movie of all time until James Cameron got jealous and decided to re-release Avatar in China. But there was an interview with them recently. So they were they were being interviewed and they were asked by they were asked, what's the kind of future looking like for you? Which is a weird question to ask. And well, it was on the red carpet for the Spider-Man premiere, and Joe Russo had this to say. One of these days, we'll have to see how this all shakes out. I don't know what they're going to do with all these characters. Look, we love those guys, and I can't say one way or another, but I'd work with them in a heartbeat. It's the best work experience of our careers. They're like family to us. We love this material, and we love the fans. So this has basically stoked a lot of rumors recently about the idea that they might be coming back because of the fact that they say we love all these characters. They may be coming back for the long-rumored Secret Wars movie. Thoughts on this, Zane? Would you like to see the Russos helming another one?
Absolutely. Like, they've been fantastic. Obviously, as you mentioned, they've done other projects outside of the MCU now. 21 Bridges, which, funny enough, I watched this week with Chadwick Boseman. They've also done... There was a film with Chris Hemsworth that was a Netflix original, which was like...
Is that Extraction?
Extraction, yes, which they're doing a sequel to. So,
they're doing a sequel to that, are they? Oh, nice. I didn't realize
yeah. Spoilers for Extraction, I guess.
Yeah, he makes it out. He does extract. It's official.
So yeah, I think it'd be great to see them back. Secret Wars would be incredible, but I guess it depends on the MCU roadmap, considering Phase 4 has been this whole sort of experimental rebuild sort of phase. It might be a while till we get to the point where we need a Secret Wars, right?
I would think so. Or then again, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, they clearly are pushing forward with the Young Avengers. After Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld had a death stare from Feige. So, I mean, I think that they are clearly pushing forward. We might well be seeing that the Young Avengers become. You and I have always theorized about this ground level street team versus, like, say, a high cosmic powered team. And it could be that the cosmic powered thing is going the route of Secret Wars, and then we've got the Young Avengers of the ground team. That could be what the setup is, which makes me laugh, because then you've got people like Falcon, who, where does he fit? Like, oh, sorry, Captain America. Now he is technically Captain America. My apologies. Yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, we'll see what happens. I am more than happy to have the Russos back, like it's my choice. but yeah, they did incredible work with Infinity War and Endgame, and they did my favorite Marvel movie. Although actually that might have changed after No Way Home, to be honest.
Wow.
With you. But they did my favorite Marvel movie, which was Captain America: Winter Soldier. So I love that. Okay, moving away from Marvel temporarily, guys. Ben Affleck, sexy Ben Affleck. He was on. Calm down, Zane. Calm down. I can see. Look how excited he's getting. He's just typing in looking for pictures of Ben Affleck as I said it. He has been on Howard Stern, on Jimmy Kimmel. Okay. So he's on Jimmy Kimmel, and there was an interview with him, and they were talking about the upcoming Flash movie. So for those of us who are, so obviously it's been documented that he's going to be in the Flash, and so is Michael Keaton. So the theory was, with No Way Home and all this other kind of stuff coming out there, maybe they're looking to do some kind of multiversal thing, and maybe there'll be lots of different Batman. Who knows? So I think Affleck's kind of shot this down a little bit, but get excited, because Jimmy Kimmel brought up the idea of maybe George Clooney might return as Batman as well. And Affleck had this to say: if he is in it, he hasn't told me. It's possible. He is very guarded. As far as I know, he doesn't want to return to that level height of cowl ears, but I don't believe that he's in the Flash movie. And this is where it got interesting. And then he says, but then again, I didn't even see Michael Keaton, so maybe Clooney is in there. Wow. So Affleck has confirmed that he didn't see. So there's no scenes between the two Batmen together at all. Then if they weren't, I mean, unless they're going to do the rubbish thing where they have like one reaction shot and then the other reaction shot and then one reaction shot, but like that directly says that it's going to be some kind of different, maybe it's I assume that means that Flash is going to be running through realities, and they're not going to it's not going to be like one point where they all come together. Thoughts on that, Zane?
It wouldn't surprise me, like you said, if Warner Brothers were to do, a lot of green screen and a lot of editing where, you're a younger Batman, sort of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but
it's Batfink.
I remember in the Justice League animated series, the Batman Beyond episode, where current Bruce Wayne met like the future Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I'm surprised you're not dead yet, like sort of thing. Right. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were to do that, but yeah, interesting. Clooney, I don't know if Clooney would come back, because like he there's the story, isn't there, that he keeps a framed photo of him as Batman in his office to remind him not to take every acting role just for the money. Have you not heard that story before?
I haven't heard that story. That's amazing. Oh, that is great. That is great. No, I haven't heard that. That is, but that makes total sense. I can totally understand why. I mean, I'll say it again. Clooney is a good Bruce Wayne. He's a terrible Batman. That's the way around it goes. And the reason why he's a good Bruce Wayne is because he basically is Bruce Wayne. Anyway, I thought it was quite interesting, the idea that we're not going to see them. It doesn't sound like we're going to see them together anyway, unless, like you said, Warner Brothers do that horrible green screening. But yeah, it does sound like maybe I can picture him like punching through speed barriers and going into different realities that way, which is an interesting thing, considering they normally do that with time with the Flash. Like, he's normally a time traveler. He's not normally a reality breaker, but who knows? Everyone's getting on the bandwagon of multiverse realities, right? Because that's just the way it is.
It's in the zeitgeist now.
Yeah, moving away. Well, speaking of multiverse reality breaking, this is going to become a regular segment for us on this show. But we'll discuss it very briefly. I don't know if you've seen this already, and it does veer a little bit away from the comic book realm, but it is going to become a regular segment for us. It's our regular Nicolas Cage watch, ladies and gentlemen. Nicolas Cage, the trailer has been released this week by Lionsgate for the amazing action/comedy The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which stars Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
Nicolas Cage is starring as himself.
How meta is that?
In The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The multiverse is crumbling, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why this movie is interesting is it's obviously a comedy and it's obviously a throw-up. I have seen the trailer. It is hilarious. I would go and recommend watching the trailer, guys, if you see it. The other reason why it's really interesting is that Pedro Pascal is in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So basically the whole plot is that Nicolas Cage is this, he's this incredible acting talent, but obviously he's kind of a little bit full of himself, but he needs money. He's an incredible acting talent who's out of work. So he's literally jumping at anything. And a Nicolas Cage super fan, played by Pedro Pascal, will pay him $1 million to appear at a personal private party. And when he appears at that movie, hijinks ensue. It's very funny. There's a bit in the trailer where Nicolas Cage he's on top of a wall and he's trying to lift Pedro Pascal up to get across the wall, like, come with me, I'm not gonna leave you. And then Pedro Pascal, he drops down and Nicolas Cage just does the overacting. And then Pedro Pascal walks around and just goes, he could have just walked around the wall. And he's like, apparently so. It's very good. So yeah, that is our current Nicolas Cage watch this week. Keep an eye out, guys. This is gonna become like a recurring segment for us. I'm gonna try as much as I can to shoehorn Nicolas Cage in wherever I can during our podcast because he's amazing and hilarious.
Have you seen his latest movie? That's I believe it's just came out.
Should we save this for Nicolas Cage watch next week? That's all I'm asking you.
I don't know, because I think it's been out for a week or two already.
Okay.
The only reason I mention it is because I saw a mini review of it on TikTok, and what I found hilarious is that it's an older Nicolas Cage, so everyone's like, he's flexing his acting muscles, he's an older man and stuff, and it's this lovely story of Nicolas Cage with this pig, and I think the pig finds truffles.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Oh god, what's it called? Yes, I have seen that. It's gotten actually really good reviews.
Yes, stellar reviews. But what sounds really weird about it is that this pig gets stolen, and then he doesn't go full John Wick. He just goes back home and becomes a chef.
It is literally called Pig. It is literally called Pig.
He just becomes a Michelin chef. Comes out of retirement, I think is the other thing.
See, here's the thing about Nicolas Cage. I don't want to go off into too much of a tangent on Nicolas Cage because I just want it to be a recurring segment that pops back up. But when you look at his list on IMDb, he's made some absolutely banging movies in the last, because obviously we all think of it kind of stops at Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after Ghost Rider, he did Bad Lieutenant. He's done Mandy. He did Spiderman Into the Spider-Verse. He's done really good movies. It's just that they are lost in what can only be described as a sea of poor. I was going to swear then. Poor movies. He needs George Clooney's photo in his office. He needs George Clooney looking at the photo of Batman in his office to remind him. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's our regular Nicolas Cage catch-up for the week. Moving on. Yeah, Cage Watch. That's it. That's what we're going to call it. in the nick of time. So moving on back to DC now, guys. So Shazam is coming out. Shazam: Fury of the Gods. We've had some looks. There has been. I need to disappear just very briefly, Zane. There's a rumor that Wonder Woman is going to be cameoing in Shazam. Talk on that, Zane. Wow. Talk on that. I will be back.
That'd be really cool, actually, thinking about it, because I guess, Fury of the Gods, Wonder Woman has this whole backstory of Greek. Do I say Greek tragedy or Greek mythology, shall we say? That probably sounds better. With all the different gods, being, I think in some versions, the daughter of Zeus, in other versions being made out of clay. So I think that's a great fix. I can see we've got some comments in the chat. I'm not going to show them just because of spoilers. When we get to the point, I'll then go back into the chat and mention it. But let's keep the chat spoiler free if we can for a moment. But I'm excited for Fury of Gods, and I'm sure Gigi will be when he's back from getting his delivery. Wonder Woman sounds cool to be in Fury of the Gods. As we're waiting, let's just talk about Undisputed Anime, my other podcast. You should check it out. If you like anime, if you like manga, it'll be in the description down below. Links to the podcast and the YouTube channel where you can check it out. We recently talked about a anime movie that just came out called Sword Art Online, which is a great little franchise. Very fun, very insightful. And I'm still stalling for time. Whilst we wait, I'll let you know some comics I read this week, because we are a comic book podcast. So I read the new Batman issue 118 by Joshua Williams, which was really cool. And it's got Batman traveling to other countries for an investigation. You're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. My apologies. That was a hell of a run. I'm knackered. What are we talking about, Zane?
I was just running through some comics I read this week.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh.
I know, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh. We live in a with two stories up in our flat. So I just had to run down the stairs and grab something. So I apologize, guys. What were your thoughts on Wonder Woman?
I said, I believe it makes a lot of sense, considering, Greek mythology and Wonder Woman's backstory of, in some versions being made by Zeus, in other versions being made out of clay. So yeah, I thought it sounds great that especially if they got Gal Gadot again.
Yes, it is. It is. The rumor is that old Gal is coming back. So old Gal, yeah. Well, she's been, how long has she been on Wonder Woman now? Like 7 years, 8 years?
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. We haven't seen her since 1984, Wonder Woman 1984. Not since the year 1984. since Wonder Woman 1984. Apparently, Patty Jennings is actually actively developing Wonder Woman 3 as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I hope Jeff Johns isn't writing it again.
Yeah, we can only hope. So yes, anyway, I like this though. I like the idea of them doing more team ups. Like they should follow that formula of like have the heroes together. They don't have to be a big barnstorming team up. It could just be like, Wonder Woman's with Shazam for a bit. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Do the Hulk method. Have them in other people's movies.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Plus, they're both magic-based heroes.
They are like magic beans. They're both magic-based. Correct. Correct. Anyway, interesting. I'm kind of... I don't know how I feel about the second Shazam movie. I'm trepidatious about it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, moving forward some more. Back to Marvel this time. This piqued my interest quite a lot, though. The Kingsman is out in a week's time in the UK. the director of The Kingsman, Matthew Vaughn, he's obviously renowned for multiple adaptations. He did X-Men First Class. He did Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
He was being interviewed by comicbook.com about The Kingsman, and he revealed he would be very interested in directing a Wolverine movie.
Oh, wow.
So I'll read the quote. To cast the young Wolverine in a reboot, that would be really fun. I could go in such a different direction to where Hugh took it as well, Hugh Jackman. I think Hugh knocked it out of the park, but I think out of all the X-Men, that's the character that I get drawn to. So, yeah, I do Wolverine. And then he was asked as for who he would take as Logan. He said, "Well, he's got." This is weird. This goes into a couple of different directions, but it's such fanboy casting this. Well, he's got older now, but I would say Tom Hardy would have been awesome.
Oh, God's sake.
I think Taron Egerton could do it in his sleep. And then Aaron Taylor Johnson could do it as well. So I think I think Aaron or Taron would be my first two choices who could do it really well. Now, Aaron Taylor Johnson, forget it. There's no way I would want him as Wolverine. Not a chance. He's already been Quicksilver Plus, and he's Kraven as well. Well, if that ever gets made, if it ever gets made, let's be honest, Zane, there's a 50-50 chance it's ever going to get made. However, Taron Egerton, I can sign up to that. I can sign up to it. It would have to be a different kind of Logan. But he's got that kind of short, stouty kind of appearance where it's like I can believe him. Plus, he does look a bit haggard in like his Robin Hood film, so I could see him as Wolverine. But what are your thoughts? Zane?
It doesn't surprise me because just like Tom Hardy, his name has been bounced around for years with a young Wolverine sort of idea. I really would have liked to see Matthew Vaughn's take on Wolverine because that was the one character that wasn't really in First Class. Like Hugh Jackman made a cameo, but he got to
quite
play
an expletive cameo.
He got to play with all the other sort of characters, really, didn't he? To an extent.
First Class was a different kind of. I think they basically went right. What's happened before? And we don't want to do any of those characters really before, because we don't want to be labeled by the same brush as, the singer verse or whatever it is, So I think I was kind of disappointed by that. To be honest with you, I was quite disappointed by the First Class lineup because, I appreciate that Jennifer Lawrence was a mega star, and so that's they had to put her in there as something, and Mystique was fine and everything, but Mystique is an X-Man. Yeah, I don't. And it just led the whole rest of the films from there. I hated that they didn't do more with Darwin because that's such a cool mutant. Like he's such a great idea. He can adapt to anything apart from when someone feeds him a giant glowing egg. What else? Who did they had? Banshee was good. Yeah, I get Angel, but it wasn't actually. It was a different Angel.
Yeah,
and then I don't know. It didn't. The lineup didn't work. I agree with you. I would like to see a take, but again, the thing with Logan is it has to be either ultra violent, a la the Punisher, where he's just chopping people to pieces, or it has to be like part of a larger whole where he's fighting robots or enemies or stuff that you can mince through. Because you don't really. I as much as I. And I'm gonna say this right now. I love Logan, the Hugh Jackman movie. I think it's a beautiful piece of work. But they did do a really good job of mingling up really intense fighting sequences with serious, heavy weighted subject matter. Because mental illness is no joke, guys. And if you are struggling with mental illness or anything like that, go and get help for it. It's you're not weak by getting help. And but that being said, they've covered all the ground that they can cover with Logan on that. And I don't really want to see another weighted Wolverine movie where he's struggling with who he is. I want to see a Logan who is secure. And I would like to see a Logan. I'd quite like to see a Logan during the Weapon X project where he's on Team X, like where it's him, Sabretooth, was it Maverick and whoever the other lady is who I can't remember. The one he falls in love with. What's her name?
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox. That's it. Silver Fox. Yeah, I'd quite like to see a team of that where they're just going on like assassination missions and that kind of thing, and then that would be really interesting. But yeah, I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing a Matthew Vaughn led Wolverine movie.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It's I feel like his work has been amazing in the past, and I think like he could really flex muscles with Wolverine. It's just, where was my thought process going? I think originally I was thinking like, it's just that with certain studios, now it's Disney, it'd be interesting to see what their thoughts are. But back to what you were saying about it being violent, and like maybe if it was R-rated, that would be easier. But if it wasn't R-rated, like you said before, they have to be faceless robots or faceless like enemies. Do you know what I mean? To make it marketable.
Yeah.
To like lunch boxes and all that jazz.
Not just that, but if you want to, if the whole idea of seeing Wolverine being part of the MCU is renowned for its action pieces as well, and you don't want to see Wolverine tickling someone with his claws. You want to see him hacking and slashing his way through stuff, and it's like, what can you hack your slash your way through? Well, people, but then that has to be a rated R, or robots, or some kind of anyway,
faceless aliens.
Yes, faceless aliens. Yeah, exactly, like Skrulls or something that can oh, they're not really dead.
Chitaris are back.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Anyway, that is what it is. So this is the last piece of news I got for this week. So we all know that Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever is coming up. They are filming it as we speak. There have been some incredibly heavy rumors that Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, is going to be returning to Wakanda Forever. And there was an interview with Bleacher Report that Michael B. Jordan did this week. And he was asked on his take as Killmonger as a villain, and was asked flat out, do you think Killmonger was a villain then? And then Michael B. Jordan responded with, no, he cared about his people just as much as T'Challa. He just had a different way of going about getting it done.
Yeah.
This has kind of fueled even more that he's going to be in Black Panther. Because I think I don't know, like there's been very, 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 very different views and little information about what is in Wakanda Forever. We don't really know, because obviously they're still trying to deal with the massive fallout from Chadwick Boseman's death.
Yeah.
I mean, your thoughts on this, Zane? Is this going to be Killmonger as an astral plane presence who meets Shuri maybe as Black Panther, or are we going to get some kind of weird resurrection of Michael B. Jordan who comes back as a good Killmonger? What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised if he was some sort of resurrection, and this was his Black Panther, because the most common fan theory I've seen out there at the moment is, after the snap, the idea of who was Black Panther whilst Black Panther was away for 5 years. And the most common, theory is that M'Baku, already being the leader of the mountain, maybe stepped into the role of leading Wakanda. So that's like one of the biggest fan theories. But who's to say that? Well, besides,
I'm still feeding into the idea of like there's two Black Panthers, that Shuri is Black Panther and so is M'Baku, and then it's like the two of them. M'Baku is the kind of like muscle out in the field Black Panther, and Shuri is the technical behind the scenes Black Panther, and they're neither one of them on their own could. This is going to sound bad because I don't want it to sound like this, but neither one of them on their own could be the Black Panther, like the same way that T'Challa was. However, together they can, just about fill the void. But I don't know. I think I would be surprised if Michael B. Jordan returns as like in physical form. I think it'll probably be a spirit thing. That would be my guess as to what he returns at, as Killmonger. I'd be glad to see him back. He's easily one of the most compelling and brilliant villains that they've developed over the last, 11 years in the MCU. Yeah. So I'd be more than happy to see him back. I'm sorry, more than that now, isn't it? It's like 13 years. It was 2008 that Iron Man came out. My God. Yeah, fascinating. What do you guys think? What do you guys think on today's news? Are you in favor of Michael B. Jordan returning? Do you want to see more Nicolas Cage news? Because it's coming, guys. It's coming. Go and check out that trailer. Let us know your thoughts, as always, in the comments on YouTube and on any of your podcasting platforms that you're listening to this on, or get in touch with us at nerds@undisputed.com. Wait, what? Nerds.undisputed. Oh, God, I've lost my mind, Zane. Nerds.undisputed@gmail.com. My apologies. Sorry. It's because I got all caught up in thinking about Spider-Man and it choked me up. Yes. So anyway, let us know your thoughts, guys. But that brings us on to the main event, doesn't it, Zane?
Oh, yes. A little movie came out this week called Spiderman No Way Home. Let's talk about it. Should we...
Well, we've both seen it, so that's beneficial.
Yeah, that is beneficial. Shall we give our verdict before going into spoilers?
Yeah, let's do a little a very non-spoilery plot synopsis and a verdict. So, following on from the events of Far From Home, Mysterio has revealed to the world who Peter Parker really is, and he's a murderer, even though he's not. And we pick up at the beginning of No Way Home with the with that revelation. And also, it's been shown in the trailers, obviously, there are multiple villains in this. And Doctor Strange is also in this. So he is dealing with multiversal weighted goodness in this film. Can the MCU Spider-Man beat the odds and save the day? This film is 100% undisputed. Guys, I genuinely... I came out of this cinema, or my local cinema, I should say. I came out of the cinema almost shell-shocked by how good this is and how much there was to take in, because there was a lot of stuff in this film, like a lot of stuff. I need to go and see it again. I will go and see it again this weekend at some point with my wife.
Definitely.
It is phenomenal. Like, it is just so good. Webb, the director, has done, forgive the pun, he's done an incredible job with this. And like, my hat's off to them completely, because, when you think about the state that Spider-Man was in, and I've no disrespect for Garfield whatsoever, but when you think about the state that it was in after Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like you think of like where it's come to in like less than 8 years, I think it has been since that. Yeah. It's incredible, and hats off and kudos to Sony for actually allowing this, like, this Disney team up to happen, because it's paid incredible dividends. And this is not the end of Spider-Man, and this is definitely not the end of Tom Holland's Spider-Man either, at all. So that's our kind of like quick summary of it, guys. This is really good. Go and see it if you haven't seen it. And now we'll give a spoiler warning and talk massive, huge spoilers, because there is a lot to spoil in this film. So
I'm just going to say here, undisputed from myself, and Mark Webb was the director of Amazing Spider-Man, and John Watts.
John Watts, that's the one. Sorry,
this one.
John
Watts. Yeah, that's all right. But yes, I'm going to make a time code right now, which is...
The nerds are going to kill me.
5. Yes, your spoiler warning is out the window.
So it's not much to talk about, is there? Really?
No, not really.
No. This has been the show anyway. See you later, guys. Yeah. Well, let's kick off right at the beginning. So I was surprised that this film picks up straight after Far From Home. Like, literally, the end scene is the next scene in No Way Home, where old Jonah's gone a bit crazy and is doing his old shabout.
I I got like Alex Jones vibes from J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, we'll talk about that actually. Let's talk about that now. So that gave me that was a weird question mark for me about this thing, was that like, how big of an entity is the Daily Bugle? Because because in one scene he like, you get this shot of Jonah in his weird like archive basement room, in front of a green screen, like it's like a Hollywood backdoor, like, you know, like dodgy, but then they're like broadcast all over Times Square, and they've got like a news van that they go out into the field with later on, and he's got a guy on staff who's filming him reporting and stuff. It's kind of like, I never really understood if the Daily Bugle is like a proper entity in this universe or not, or if it's like this weird, like, oh, you said, like, you know, Alex Jones far right kind of like crazy wagon, you know?
I think there's like a secret story underneath this, where he's gone from massive theorist in his, you know, podcast sort of scenario, and then by the end of this he's got like a major like news deal, like on a network.
Okay, right. Because they did some behind the scenes kind of like, you know, preamble to the film, and they had some like news, like they did some fake news thingies.
Yes.
And it was him, and then it was Betty Brandt, who we see kind of doing the news for the local school. But then they say in the releases she's become an intern for the Daily Bugle. So it's kind of like, I was like, what's the vibe here? Are they a major news network, or are they not a major news network, or are they like this weird, like, I'm doing it in my basement situation thing? You know, I couldn't work that out. That aside, I mean, J.K. Simmons is amazing. Like, he's always amazing. Yeah. He's the perfect casting of J. Jonah Jameson, and why wouldn't you have him? Although it would have been, part of me did want at the end of this to have him like white blipped out the same way that the villains did, just as if he wasn't actually supposed to be there. I thought that would have been hilarious. It's like, my God. So yes, so Peter's arrested at the beginning of the thing. This was the first bit of kind of question marking as well, apart from the Daily Bugle, was the Department of Damage Control.
Yeah,
they're new. Are they a wing of Sword, or what are they? Because they obviously have connections to Nick Fury, because they knew that he was in space for a year.
He's off planet,
Yes.
Which is really bizarre. I did wonder, I was like, is this the same agency that took all the space stuff off of Vulture in the first one?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. The one that was set up by Tony Stark kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, they seem to have like all sorts of power, don't they? Because they use like classic sort of good cop, bad cop on all the kids, like Ned and MJ. And
you totally be Ned, just for the record. You totally be Ned in this MCU.
Ned.
You totally would be Ned. 100%. I can see it. I can see it now.
But I guess the surprising thing as well is that they uncovered that Michelle Jones is Michelle Jones Watson.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, who gives a monkey's, Zane? Because guess what? That character will never be back in the Spider-Man movies. Spoiler alert for later on, even though we've just given massive spoiler alert, so we can talk quite freely about it. We'll talk more about it towards the end, but like that is, moving forward, that is an interesting plot point to say.
Yeah,
what does this mean for Tom Holland's Spider-Man? But yes, MJ Watson instead of Mary Jane, Michelle Jones. Who cares? Yeah, I mean, I like the whole sequence. I felt like it was a weird sequence, to be honest with you, because it was kind of felt like a little bit of a throwaway, like them being in the interrogation cells. It just kind of like felt like oh yeah, we'll do that because it's that. There you go, done. You know, it would be quite funny to see these guys under this scenario. That's kind of what it felt like. Which I'm not such a huge fan for just shoehorning stuff like that in, but it is what it is. But what I am a fan of is what that led us into, Zane. Would you like to discuss what that led us into, Zane?
So we get a scene after the interrogation where Aunt May, Happy Logan, and Peter sat around the coffee.
Happy Hogan, not Logan.
What did I say?
Logan. Happy Logan. It's not Hugh Jackman. It's Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau.
Cousins of Hugh.
Yeah.
Distant
relatives.
But yeah, what was more exciting is that they got to see the family lawyer, who was Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox.
I yelled yes in the cinema when he was on screen. I already did. I think I annoyed quite a few people when I did. My God.
The whole theatre I was in gasped, followed by the follow-up was, who's that? Like there were so many people, like there were so many times during this thing where I literally yelled out yes in the cinema. Whilst this is in my head, because this is not related to anything apart from what you just said, but talking about that, somebody in our cinema, when there's a scene later on between Spider-Man and Electro where Electro says, I just was kind of hoping you'd be black. Yes.
And he goes, I'm sure somewhere out there's a black Spider-Man, which obviously is like a massive shoehorn in. And then everyone in the cinema laughed, and I just heard one guy just go, he's talking about Miles! Which I thought was hilarious. Thanks, guys. We didn't work it out. He's talking about Miles! with that kind of like regional accent as well, by the way, guys. It was exactly that level of twang.
Perfect.
Oh my God, he's talking about Miles! So yes. Is he? Who's Charlie Cox? Who's Charlie Cox? I can picture that. Yeah, this is. This was amazing because obviously Feige came out recently on an interview and said if Matt Murdock is going to appear in the MCU, it will be Charlie Cox who'll be playing him. And it's like, Feige, you little devil, you already knew.
Little devil.
He's already. Oh, that Feige. That big K, we've talked about it before. He just tilted his cap and he was all like, if it's going to happen, it'll be him. I need you. This has obviously massively wider implications.
Yes.
Based on Hawkeye, which we'll talk about next week as well. I cannot describe to you how happy I am that Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock is now part of the MCU. He is easily he was one of these, he's one of the standouts from that Netflix show. And if there was anyone that you want to be Daredevil still after that Netflix show, it is him. This makes me super excited about the possibility of him appearing in other franchises. Like, for instance, if he's going to be involved in the Blade movie, or if he's going to be part of this. You and I were speculating. They've done Blade, they've done Moon Knight. Maybe they're working on a Marvel Knights property. Now Daredevil is in the MCU. It would make 100% sense that they're going to do that. I was after season 3 on Netflix, which was phenomenal, by the way. If you guys haven't seen the Daredevil series on Netflix, it's still on there. You just have to go and find it because they don't advertise it anymore. Go and find it. It's amazing. All 3 seasons are fantastic. But you'll understand why my excitement levels for this was riding high when I saw Charlie Cox on screen. I want more Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I want more Daredevil series. I'm also excited at the possibility of he might be the mentor to Spider-Man in Spider-Man 4, or might be involved in, which there will be a Spider-Man 4, guys, with Tom Holland, just for the record. It's
already been confirmed. Yeah.
There you go. Well, They've beaten around the bushes, but then they've said we're definitely working on it. I think was what Feige said. They're working on it with what's his face, what's the name? Amy Pascal.
Yeah.
So and then he does that amazing.
I was just going to put a Daredevil fact in quickly. The second season of Daredevil on Netflix was the second most pirated TV show after Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose that was because it was one of the big crossover events at the time, because you had Punisher and Daredevil together.
Punisher in it. But this is, at the same time, this is at the height of like Arrow and Flash.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's also at the height of the MCU, so it's not. I'm not shocked at that. But it was. I think that was the first time, apart from obviously the main Avengers team up. That was the first time that we had like a little kind of certainly a TV. Certainly a Marvel TV team up. And Punisher is incredibly. Like, I don't think people realize how popular Punisher is until you see, like, but. We'll see. Maybe he'll show up one day. Maybe John Bernthal will be. I mean, all bets are off now with Netflix casting. I would. What's the guy's name?
The Luke Cage.
Yes, character? Exactly who I was thinking of. Zane. Wow, that's terrifying. Get out of my head.
It's only because Luke Cage broke records on Netflix at one stage as well.
Of course it did. But he's really good as well. Coulter, Mike Coulter.
I shall confirm.
It is Mike Coulter, I'm pretty sure.
It is Mike Coulter, yeah.
Yeah. He's brilliant as Luke Cage as well. I basically would be happy if they got all of the Netflix people back. Yes, even Finn Jones. I think Finn Jones. I liked his performance as Iron Fist in the second season. The first season was just bad. They didn't know what they were doing with the character, but I think his second season was very good. And he had a proper baddie in Steel Serpent as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for all this. Anyway, let's stick with the original plot for Spider-Man. But suffice to say, I think both of us at Undisputed Nerds here, we are extremely happy that Charlie Cox is back in the MCU as Daredevil. So
on the, I know we need to move on, but I love the two things in his scene. The first one, his interaction with Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau. Yes, considering he played as Froggy Nelson in the Ben
Foggy Nelson in Daredevil, not Froggy. Yes.
Also,
Zane's got the rare tongue disease that I had earlier on. Now
I'm falling apart.
It's spreading.
Also, the brick that was thrown through the window.
Oh my god, that was amazing! Yeah. And then, the line after that was what really got me. Because where Tom Holland, Peter Parker goes, "How the hell did you do that?" And then he just goes, "I'm a very good lawyer." It's like, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You're the best. Catch a fly out the air. Go on. Yeah. So anyway, yes. Daredevil, guys, is in the MCU. So after that, obviously, because Spider-Man is now finished with high school and he's trying to go to college. But unfortunately, the weight of the massive news story that he is Spider-Man and potentially a murderer has broken. Some people believe him, some people don't. We get a scene at his high school where some people have built a shrine to him. But it's an interesting kind of thing where I guess they're kind of playing a little bit into the political dynamic in the world at the moment, which we won't go into too deep because it's not that kind of show, but it's very divisive. Some people believe him, some people don't believe him. And it just goes to show the influence of fake news on people and how much people believe media, for the right or wrong and what it shows people in society. And I thought it was quite interesting that they did try and they didn't weigh too heavily on it because obviously it's not they didn't want to make this a political statement, but it is interesting that did play into it. A couple of things to note at the school. I did notice they've got my brother was extremely excited to tell me this. He will be listening, so hello, my brother. But we had I'll credit this to him. Howard Stark was on the mural behind in the school. There was a big mural of all inventors inventors across time. Howard Stark was on there. Hank Pym was on there.
Okay.
Yeah, and also Natalia Romanoff, Black Widow, was on there as well.
Oh.
Yes, you have to when one of the scenes when they're walking away, she's in the top right-hand corner. The reason why I took a special note of this was that in the cinema we went to see it in IMAX, and
nice.
We got special 3D glasses for IMAX. It was great. It was all good. It made me feel like the olden days. 2 years ago, pre-pan. So we got to this point, and then we got to the bit where they're opening their letters from MIT because they've all applied to go to MIT together. Sorry, Ned, MJ, Peter Parker, they've all applied to go to MIT together. That's their grand plan. And then at that point, Zane, the film cut off.
What?
The film cut off in the cinema. All went black. No. All went black. all disappeared. And then a lady came in to our cinema and went, "Hi everyone. Sorry, we've had to stop the film because we've realised you guys have paid to see it in 3D, and the film is only playing in 2D.
Oh,
so
my word.
We're gonna have to restart the whole thing."
Restart the whole thing, the whole movie.
They restarted the whole movie. So we watched. I've watched Spider-Man No Way Home the first half an hour twice. And then it was in glorious 3D and it looked lovely. Hooray. But I personally, by the way, just for the record, I don't give a monkeys about 3D. I really don't care about it. I think it's an overused cinema for me. I see it with my own eyes. 2D, it's fine. Yeah. You know, and to be perfectly honest with you, I hadn't even noticed that it wasn't in 3D. I was so invested in the film. So yes, at that point, then we got back up to them opening the MIT letters. All of them were rejected because of being involved with Spider-Man and being involved in the drama that's going on in the world. Apart from Flash. So Flash Thompson, I hate, by the way, just for the record, right? I hate this version of Flash Thompson. I really hate him. Like, I don't, like, there's very few things that the MCU has done wrong. Their take on Flash Thompson is awful, and it's nothing to do with the actor. I've noticed, I don't really care about the actor one way or another, but it's just the worst portrayal, because he's like this weird, like, sniveling bully who's not really a bully because he just seems to be on his own all the time. He hasn't really got a group. He's just the kind of like little brat who just drops in every now and again. It's just so not what Flash is. Like, Flash in the he's a jock. He's a meathead who bullies Spider-Man because he's a nerd. You know, he worships Spider-Man, but he hates Peter Parker. And like, it's this portrayal of him is terrible. And like, one of my friends afterwards was like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna do Agent Venom." And I'm like, I really hope not, because I do not want that version of Flash Thompson to be Agent Venom. That would be, I almost swore, that would be awful. It would be awful. So I hate this Flash Thompson, just for the record. Not the actor. The actor's fine. I just hate this version of Flash Thompson. Yeah. But he got into MIT. Presumably on a football scholarship.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him play football, have we?
So... No, exactly. Anyway.
What's always weird about this one as well is, like, in the last one, they made out that he was like some sort of influencer. Like, he live streams like the Mysterio attack, doesn't he, on his phone sort of thing? Yeah. Which also reminds me, did you hear the guy, when they were going into the school, did you hear the guy who said, "Spider-Man, do a flip"? Like, from the first one.
I did see that. Well, it's I that does actually, that the influencer thing does ring true, because he's trying to flog a book in this one, isn't he? So he's obviously trying to flog a book of like, Peter Parker's my best friend and I know Spider-Man really well. So I guess it does play into the idea that like he's hungry for fame kind of thing, but
yeah.
I hate him. So anyway, at that point, Peter thinks, well, my world's over. It's, there's nothing I can do. I need to enlist the help of a sorcerer to make everyone forget that I'm Spider-Man. So he goes to see Doctor Strange, because that's the only sorcerer that he knows. Couple of really interesting points off of this that really got me. I was shocked at this. So first of all, there's been loads of speculation in the trailer about why the thing was ice and snow. It was Marvel trolling us again. It was literally just they left a door open in a blizzard and it all blew in. So that was the first thing. The second thing was just random people picking up snow in are they part of Kamatage? Maybe are they students in training? Who are they?
I assumed they were students. Like,
but it's never established, is it? We never really, and they're not. No. They're kind of. It's kind of a weird thing. So that was odd. The biggest thing from this that I was absolutely shocked at, and this really did like knocked me for six was that Doctor Strange is not the Sorcerer Supreme. Wong is. Anymore. Yeah. Wong is the Sorcerer. No, he never. Well, technically, he never was he? Because like I guess it was like the same level of magic, and that nobody really took over from the Grand Master. When she died, and then like he disappeared for 5 years. So then Wong became the Sorcerer Supreme, which is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, because it suggests to me that in this universe, Wong's power level is on tap with Doctor Strange.
Potentially, yeah, I guess so. Like,
because you don't become the Sorcerer Supreme by half-assing it.
But then he says as a technicality, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he says,
as a technicality because Doctor Strange wasn't around. Because as we all know, that Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange's level of magic is ridiculous. But like by that token as well, though, in order to become the Sorcerer Supreme, you have to be a level above everyone else. Yeah. Like you have to be completely able to handle interdimensional threats and that side of things. That's the whole point of the Sorcerer Supreme, is to be the supreme, wizard who can stop all this. So yeah, I just thought it was fascinating that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, which makes sense as to why he's then in all these end credits for like things like Shang-Chi and stuff,
I was going to say, yeah,
it doesn't quite explain why he's in a fighting pit with the Abomination, but we'll breach over that. We'll breach over that.
He's such a fan favorite, though, isn't he? Like,
yes.
What was crazy to me, and I'm sure we'll get onto it after, is that I had to remind a friend that Mordo was in the first Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, really?
But he remembered Wong. Like,
well, yeah, that's because Benedict Wong is an incredible actor. Like, he's amazing. Like, he's so good. He's perfect casting for Wong. Like, he's amazing. So Peter asks Doctor Strange to do because Wong's going off to do other duties. Apparently, we don't know where. We don't know what is going on with that, but we assume it's something to do maybe with Shang-Chi after the events of that movie. We're left with Peter and Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Doctor Strange was going to commit a magic act to make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Unfortunately, Peter Parker doesn't exactly think it through and decides to stop him mid-spell. Now, this was my problem right here, right? So,
yeah.
Okay. I'm prefixing this with, I know this is nitpicking. I know it is. And I respect that. And this film is a masterpiece. It is excellent. You need to go and see it. It is 5 out of 5. It is undisputed. However, so Doctor Strange is making a spell to make everyone in the world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And then he worries Peter Parker worries midway through the spell. Oh, but I really want these people to remember. Okay. Right? Here we go. If he's making a spell to make everyone forget, why couldn't he just make a spell afterwards to make certain people remember?
But then would you remember to cast a spell to remember?
Also, why not include yourself in that, Doctor Strange, by the way, to remember these things? Because if you don't remember them, you're just going to have some strange boy in your basement in your house in New York. He didn't think it through. It was the only sticking point for me where I was like, if you've got that much level of control of magic that you can make the entire world forget who somebody is, surely you have the power to make one person remember as well. You know what I mean?
Including yourself.
Including yourself. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be very hard. Like, plus he even does it during the spell. Like, he does it for the first like 3 or 4 times where he's adding people in to like remember. It's like, it wouldn't be hard to just do it afterwards, guys. Come on, think ahead. Also, Peter, you suck for not thinking about that beforehand.
What surprises me as well, thinking out loud, is in the trailer, which was also, I guess, red herring, is Wong tells Strange not to do the spell.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a lot of... Yeah, they did a load of red herrings.
Yeah.
No, they did a load of red herrings in that trailer. Also, just for the record as well, it's interesting to note that the demeanor of Doctor Strange in the trailer is very different to the demeanor of Doctor Strange in this film. Like in the trailer, he's very cold, very like almost rude to a point to Peter Parker. And that led a lot of people to speculate, oh, it's not really him, it's Mephisto or whatever might be the case. You know, there was loads of speculation that came out of it. But then in the film, he's very soft with Peter, like he's very kind to him. You know, he's very accommodating. He only gets really annoyed at Peter when Peter continuously like adds into the spell and he's trying to control it at the same time, because as one would imagine, probably takes a lot of power to, you know, influence the multiverse. So yeah, that kind of they definitely threw us a lot of red herrings in that. Anyway, the spell doesn't quite go according to plan, and it turns out that instead of making everyone forget, the spell has the opposite effect and brings together everyone who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. It goes so badly wrong, it breaks all walls of the multiverse. So everyone who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, everyone who knows that is coming from all corners of the multiverse. But we don't know that yet. We just think everything has been contained and Doctor Strange is just a little bit miffed at Peter. The best part of that scene as well for me is the bit right at the end where he says, you know, I'm sorry that you tried to go to the board and, you know, ask them to take you back and, they didn't accept it. And Peter goes, what? I could have just asked them. And Doctor Strange is like, wait, you thought it was a better idea to ask your magic friend to change all of the world than pick up a phone and ring MIT's recruitment center. And then you just get, well, and then you just get thrown out of the building. I loved that scene. That was amazing. So anyway, Peter then does some wrangling and he gets the administrative officer of MIT, and she's about to go to the airport. So he manages to head out on his spider adventures. Somewhere in between as well, he's lost his suit because somebody in the street has thrown gunk all over his suit, which is stuck and he can't clean it off. So he's had to pick up his spider armor, which was still in the he still has the old nanobots. So he's heading out to the freeway, the highway, whatever you want to call it, and he meets the administrative lady, and it's at this point that we get a certain rumblings, and it's villains time, baby. Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina himself, shows his ugly face. We've established he's taken out of time just before he makes the machine at the end of Spider-Man 2. So it is literally right before he dies. I can't begin to tell you what a sense of joy I got seeing Alfred Molina as Doc Ock again. It was amazing. It was really so good. And the fight was so good. And do you know why the fight was so good, Zane? For two reasons. Well, two reasons. Firstly, because Peter's in his spider armor, he can get out his own Doc Ock arms. So he gets out his own Ock arms, and Dr. Octopus says, "We've got competition here, boys," which I thought was amazing. I loved that. The second thing that was amazing about it was that, as it should be from the comics, Peter Parker does not land a single blow on Doc Ock's face. There is one point where he kicks him in the chest, and that is it. All the rest of the fight, the arms are deflecting everything that Peter Parker throws at him, because the whole idea of Doc Ock is he's just a guy. He is just a guy who has got these incredible arms that will, just use he could just use them for anything, whatever. And in the comics, it is literally Spider-Man fighting the arms, basically. Yeah. That is the whole point of it. And if he gets a single knockout blow on Doc Ock, it's over. That's it. It's done. Yeah. And if you watch go back and watch the film again, guys, go and watch No Way Home. They do an amazing job at this. He never lands a punch on his face. It is all just arm and fights. Like, that is it. And I was so happy about it. I was so happy. You've no idea. Because, like, that's the one thing that really annoyed me about Spider-Man 2 was the fact that, like, you know, Maguire's Spider-Man was like punching him in the face all the time, like caving his head in. And I'm just like, he'd be out. It'd be over. Once Spider-Man gets to him, that's it. It's over. That's the whole point.
That was something that was raised in Superior Spider-Man, wasn't it? When Doc Ock took over his body and he punched someone for the first time, he realizes that Spider-Man was holding back. Yeah.
It's an interesting comment actually that goes later on as well we'll talk about that when it happens, but it doesn't matter. So at this point in time, I would like to say that one of our theories on Undisputed Nerds was correct.
Yes,
we actually got a theory right, guys. So we theorized that in the trailer, Doc Ock's arms change color. So they are metallic and then they go red at one point. And Zane and I was theorizing that maybe it was some kind of Stark tech that they'd got to control the arms, like that they could be made docile or something like that. And Doc Ock was maybe going to be more of a good guy in this than a bad guy. And we were right. We were right. His nano armor laces over the top of Doc Ock's arms and allows him to control them. So effectively rendering Doc Ock completely docile. And he never is a threat after that. I saw it. I was like, yes, we got one right, Zane. We got one right.
Ring the bell.
I'm sure, ding, ding, ding. I'm sure loads of other people out there have got that theory as well. I'm sure loads of other people have, but I haven't heard it. So, you know, I am sure there have been multiple other people who had that theory. So kudos to all of us who got that theory right. So yeah, I should point out somewhere in between this, Doctor Strange has given Spider-Man special shooty, spatial, webby stuff.
Yeah, that was weird.
He turns up, doesn't he? Right after the Doc Ock fight, he turns up at that point in time.
He teleports them.
Yes, that was it.
The crypt.
Yes, that was it. Because he's already caught Lizard.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange then explains to Peter that because of what they did, everyone who knows Peter Parker as Spider-Man is coming here. We shut down the spell, but some people have already slipped through. So far, what we've seen is obviously Lizard, because Doctor Strange has been attacked by Lizard quite badly, and we also see Doc Ock. So right at the end, before they're teleported, who else do we get, Zane?
We got to see William Dafoe's Green Goblin attack the bridge.
We did get to see Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Yes, indeed. I mean, his performance as Green Goblin in this film was brilliant. So well done, and we'll come on to it a bit more later on. But God, I didn't realize how much nostalgia I would have for the Raimi movies until I saw Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Thomas Hayden Church came back as Sandman as well.
I was quite surprised. Yeah.
I
thought he'd be completely CGI Sandman.
I did as well. I thought he'd be totally CGI and like we would have no actor involvement. In fact, from all of them, I thought Rhys Ifans would not be in it as well. Spoiler alert, guys. Rhys Ifans is in this, and he does turn up. So after this, we then. This was where my fan theories then did not pan out.
Yes.
So I had theorized that the black suit that we had seen in the thing may well have been a symbiote, may well have been the Venom symbiote, especially after the events of Spider-Man Let There Be Carnage. Sorry, I always get confused.
Spider-Man Let There Be Rubbish.
Venom Let There Be Rubbish. Venom Let There Be Rubbish. Sorry, close enough. I inadvertently messed up the wrong word. I deliberately got one word wrong and then I messed up the other one.
I think that's how Sony pitched it. Like,
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, in Spider-Man, but no Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man played by Tom Hardy.
So in my notes here, I've just got fights, villains, which is pretty much the whole rest of this piece. So all Spider-Man did with the black suit was he turned his normal suit that he wears inside out.
Yeah.
which was very surprising to me because there wasn't any runes or anything like that. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't like a special suit that Doctor Strange gave him. It was literally just an inside-out suit, which I was like, I could respect that. Thanks, Sony. Thanks, Marvel, for just, heckling the fans with this amazing thing. So, yes, sadly, my Venom theory did not play out, guys. It was just a black suit that he was wearing inside out. But we'll come back to Venom later. So then, Spider-Man goes a-hunting. He goes a-hunting for them villains because he wants to find Green Goblin, who is out there. Green Goblin, as one of my friends inadvertently called him, Green Gobbler.
I like how he calls him. It was like a green alpha elf.
Yeah. Because that suit is ridiculous, and it was ridiculous, and I'm glad that they went away. I like that in this film as well, especially. Again, we'll cover more of Norman Osborn later on, but I really like the fact that they realized, Feige and Disney have realized, that more terrifying than the Goblin armor is actually having Willem Dafoe's face. So Spider-Man goes hunting. He comes across not the Green Goblin, but Electro.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx's Electro. Not blue, but instead yellow and reconstituted with said body. I don't know why I said it like that. Really interesting way they explain this away as well, which I loved, which was the reason why in the other universe he was blue and why in this universe he's yellow. Different energy. It is a different energy signature, which I was like, that is brilliant. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Also, he doesn't need that full black suit to keep himself contained. He's like, I've got a body now.
He didn't really. I don't think he needed that in. I don't think he needed that at the end of the Amazing Spider-Man though. He reconstitutes himself. Remember in the basement. Yeah. Like he explodes and then learns to reconstitute himself, and it was the same thing he was doing here. I really enjoyed Jamie Foxx in this film. I thought he was fantastic, and I thought it was a really lovely redemption thing for him, considering I know he didn't enjoy his experience on The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's come out and said that he didn't enjoy his portrayal of that character and didn't like where it went. And he has since said that he felt a lot more comfortable being this Electro than the other one. And I agree with him. I think it was fantastic. I think he was really good in this. He was just enough level of like menacing, but also like understandable menacing. You can tell he was like, he's just hungry for power, which is what Electro's all about. He's all about that power mad, power hungry kind of thing. I love the idea that they played into it with an arc reactor as well. Like he gets his hand on an arc reactor, really cool. The ultimate. And also like we'll talk about this now because where at the end when Doc Ock has the arc reactor in his hand and he says the power of the sun in the palm of my hand, and I was like, it's so interesting. I mean, it's a bit cheesy, isn't it, in the sense of like they do put a lot of weight on Tony Stark again, and it's as if to say like, if Tony Stark had been in your guys' universes, none of this would have happened. This would not have happened. Like we wouldn't see these villains. It just wouldn't happen because Stark technology is so advanced. You could fix that chip like no problem. You could sort out Electro's energy problems like that, and it's an interesting indictment somewhat on the fact that like in the other universes the Spider-Man did not have the same weight. It also we'll talk more about it in a bit. So Electro is way too strong for Spider-Man in this. So the only way that Electro can be saved, that Spider-Man could be saved is Sandman. Sandman, who if everyone remembers at the end of Spider-Man 3 is actually something of a friend to Peter Parker, and is actually on his side. So he protects him from Electro. And then two of them get together and they all meet up with the other villains after they've put them in the special containment thing. Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting, Zane, for me. Yeah. So we get the scene with, obviously, Green Goblin, where Norman Osborn is incredibly conflicted, and the Goblin is still in his head and influencing him. I would like to point out at this point in time, Norman Osborn in the books is not a good guy, just for the record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not a good guy, regardless of whether he's got goblin serum or not. He's just not a good guy.
Yeah.
I get why they want to play into the fact that he's just a hapless victim. So he has gone to see Aunt May at the Feast Center, which I thought was a nice little nod as well. The Feast Center, I enjoy seeing that. Yeah. And he's kind of all like, "Oh, help me! I don't know where I am. Where's Harry?" and all this other kind of stuff. And he's obviously not right in the head. So they all go back to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has come up with this device that is going to send everyone back to their own realities at the moment that they left, which will obviously lead to their eventual deaths. It's at this point that we get some actual good character development where, surprise, surprise, people talk to each other. And all the villains tell the other villains, yeah, you died, or you died at this point in time. Yeah. Sandman revealing that Doc Ock obviously died, and Norman Osborn died fighting Spider-Man. Although the Lizard didn't die, which I'm kind of like, hang on a second. Garfield definitely saved the Lizard. There's no way he died. Electro, it's on the fence whether or not he died. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange says we've got to send them back. It's their fate to die fighting Spider-Man. That's what they do. That's how it is. And
just before you move on to that subject, I like the idea that they still believe in their original plan was great. Because, Jamie Foxx says, he tried to turn the whole city into lizards. And he was like, yeah, do you want to be one? Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they still have a kindle for their original plan.
Yeah, they're still villains at the core of it, most of them. Yeah, exactly. We should point out as well that Ned and MJ are heavily involved in all of this as well. That the Scooby Squad, as Doctor Strange dubs them, is in full effect. So they're all there. Spider-Man, Peter Parker has been talking to Tom Holland's Peter Parker has been talking to Aunt May, who has said, we need to help them however you can, kind of thing. And that then influences his decision to not send the villains back to their point of death, but to try and cure them of their said afflictions, because all of the villains have some form of affliction, which is causing them to be villainous. Not sure how I felt about that, in the sense of like, yeah, these guys are bad. Like, they're bad guys. That's why and then getting power has made them worse. That's the whole idea behind it. With the exception, I guess the exception is kind of Otto Octavius from the Raimi universe. He's not really a bad guy beforehand. There's some bad decisions that lead into it. And Flint Marko as well, you could also argue, is he really bad? Or is he just a robber who's trying to... Exactly. Regardless, Peter does not want to send them back, and then we get I think might be my favorite fight sequence in this movie, which is when Doctor Strange fights Spider-Man in the mirror dimension. Oh my god, it's incredible! Like, it's spectacle, so good. Well, first of all, interestingly enough, outside of his astral form. In his astral form, Spider-Man still has spider sense and can influence his body. Because there's a couple of times when Doctor Strange tries to grab the thing from Spider-Man and he's able to move his arms because of his spider sense. Yeah. In his astral form, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. Doctor Strange is like, how are you doing this? and then we get another link. So basically they have this I can't do it justice by talking about it, guys. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man fight in the mirror dimension. It is one of the most spectacular fight sequences you'll ever see. If you think about the Doctor Strange mirror dimension fights in that movie, but dialed up to 11 with added moving trains and whatnot in it, it's incredible. And I love the idea.
Every great Spider-Man fight sequence needs a train. Moving train in it.
I wonder if that was a callback. That must have been a callback, mustn't it? To Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And then what's great and what they really do a good job of is linking the idea that, in Thor way back when, he makes it. I'm gonna butchered this quote, but he basically says something along the lines of, "In your world, you believe in science and magic. In my world, they're one and the same."
Yeah.
And Peter Parker understands the mirror dimension by using geometry and math. And he's able to beat Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension just by using calculus and math. And I was like, that is amazing.
And a lot of web.
I've never nerded out so hard over math before. Like, it was amazing. He webs him up, he steals his sling ring, and he takes the box. And it's literally just like, see you later, Doctor Strange. I've beaten you. It was amazing. I was like, that is so good. So then he goes about, once he's left Doctor Strange in the spirit dimension, we don't see Doctor Strange again until the end of the movie.
He got Doctor Strange, some would say.
They Doctor Strange, they Professor X Doctor Strange.
I heard someone at the end of the movie, they were like, I thought Doctor Strange would be in this a lot more.
You mean the guy who would have been able to stop all of it in like 2 seconds? Yeah, okay,
that movie would have ended then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he would have portaled Green Goblin to the moon, and that would have been it. So we then get the scene where he tries to cure them. Basically, he's gone to Happy Hogan's flat, which is where they're hiding out from the press, and he uses Stark technology, which again goes back to what I was saying earlier on about the fact that if Tony Stark existed in this universe, it would be over. Like, there would be none of these threats would really be a real threat, because he would have fixed the problem in 2 seconds flat. They fixed Doc Ock by surprise, fixing the vulnerable inhibitor chip on the back of his neck. Oh, what a surprise. We didn't see that one coming.
Ding.
There you go. Yeah, take note, Tobey Maguire. So yes, that's fixed. They attempt to fix Electro by putting a power dampener on him. They attempt to fix, like, they basically go through everyone until it's revealed that Norman Osborn has been doing his that Willem Dafoe. He's being a cheeky little goblin, isn't he? And he's being very duplicitous. And in actual fact, the goblin has taken over his mind again, and he has become Green Goblin.
I have to admit, I was really suckered in when he was nice guy Norman. I was like, this is great.
I knew it was going bad. Like, I could tell right from the get-go. Look at his little cheeky Willem Dafoe face. You can't help it.
I was really suckered in. I was like, oh man, this is cool. And then he was like, if you ever come to my dimension, you should come to Oscorp. And I was like, oh.
They hit us as well with the amazing. There was a lot of memes in this where we got the old "I'm something of a scientist myself" meme, which is like, yes, they've done it all. Anyway, so Electro breaks out, goes full power with his arc reactor. He nabs an arc reactor from the Stark machine that Peter Parker's using. Goes full power Electro.
Ooh. I like how they used the dampener from Iron Man 2. You know, the thing that was extracting all the that was poison in.
The palladium.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That's amazing.
Because it's got the 2 slots for the chips that he had.
Oh my god! I didn't put that together. That's amazing. Of course, because it's a Stark fabricator as well, so he probably had the
blueprints.
The blueprints in there already. Oh, that's amazing. I didn't notice that, Zane. That's very cool. The only bit that I got a bit confused about was Sandman, because his whole motivation was like, I just want to go back home to my daughter.
Yeah.
But like, he then kind of goes crazy as well. And I'm like, why are you going crazy, mate? Like, you want to, surely you should be helping Spider-Man if you want to go back. But then you've just decided to go all sandy and mental.
I feel like he's one of those guys who's, if he's in the group with the boys, he'll be like, yeah, we'll do that together.
I get it. Here, ready for this pun, guys? Ready for this pun?
TL.
He goes with the grain. Grains of sand. Get it?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
The super chat is going crazy. We'll get to the super chats in a moment.
Oh, there's super chats. I've missed it. Oh my god, there is super chats. Good god. So let's keep going. Sorry. So there's a big fight that breaks out. And in this fight, we get, obviously, man, I mean, Tom Holland Spider-Man gets his ass kicked like really, really badly in this fight. Doc Ock kind of just disappeared. Doc Ock slinks away like a little sourpuss. He just disappears, all fixed, but doesn't bother to help. So he vanishes. Electro goes full force on Spider-Man. Sandman gives him a bit of a pummeling, but Green Goblin by far whoops his booty the worst. Like, he hammers that ass in not that way. And my favorite part of this whole thing, I think, was when they were having a fight and Green Goblin was punching him through the floor. That was amazing.
Yeah, I saw a few articles. I didn't read any, but there was a lot of articles saying that how there was some inspiration from the PS4 Spider-Man game. And I feel like this sequence is probably it, because there's a takedown similar to what was in the game.
I think it's actually the ending is the influence from the PS4 game, because apparently the apartment at the end of this is exactly the same as the apartment that he's got in the Spider-Man game. I think that might be what the influence was. Plus, the ending goes very computer gamey when he jumps out of the window and he's doing all like the weird poses and stuff. Also, the symbol on his chest towards the end is it's in gold, but that's pretty much the PS4 symbol from his suit. It just needs to be white, and that's pretty much the same symbol. But yeah, it could well be that the fight sequences were influenced from that game. I wouldn't be surprised. Aunt May is there, and she is trying to escape whilst they are having this massive fight. And we all know in the comic books it is incredibly personal between Spider-Man and the Goblin. Goblin is technically Spider-Man's arch nemesis. Technically, he has wrought so much pain and misery on Spider-Man's life with the death of Gwen Stacy. And I tell you what, the MCU did an incredible job of making it super personal between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, because Green Goblin kills Aunt May. He runs her over with his spider glider. If he finally got it to work, he finally impaled the right person with the spider glider. Never normally works. He always gets impaled on his own glider, but in this instance, he got Aunt May. So Marissa Tomei dies. And is not going to be in it anymore. That was a personal blow to me for various reasons, because I love Marissa Tomei. How do you feel about them making Aunt May's death the driving force in the Spider-Man story? Because we've seen Uncle Ben die, we've seen Gwen Stacy die, we've not seen Aunt May die before. Thoughts?
Yeah, very interesting take on Aunt May's demise, dare I say. Also, in a clever way, they've given Green Goblin a purple hood in this sequence.
In a clever way, did you just say? In a clever way, he got a hood.
Made him more comic book accurate.
Would you like to rethink that statement?
But I guess, yeah, it was sad, you know.
It was sad.
It was weird as well, because like, she got up and had like a full-blown conversation, and then falled. I mean,
she bled and then falled.
Yeah,
and then fell. Yes, she then fell. She bled out, didn't she? That was the whole point.
Yeah,
It was a worse cut than they thought, and she obviously just bled out on the floor. I think it gave it. I think the one thing that you and I have said previously about this version of Spider-Man and the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man is, with the exception of Tony Stark, there hasn't been an element of tragedy in his life like most Spider-Man have. Like most Spider-Men are defined by their tragedy, you know. So you've got the death of Uncle Ben in Maguire's Spider-Man. You had the really the death of Peter's parents, I guess, in the Amazing Spider-Man, and then also Gwen. But Captain we only really see Captain Stacy. Yes, correct. Yeah. But in this one, he didn't really have any like figures where it's like, oh man, like that's a serious loss to his life. And this is it. this is it, and this this really does establish, and she gives him the old "great power comes greater responsibility" line, which is traditionally the old Uncle Ben line. And Tom Holland's Spider-Man is lost after this. He is lost. And
I really like the sequence where he's standing on a building top and it's just the LCD screen and it's him in the rain sort of thing. And it's kind of like, it's beautiful because it's where it's the shot from behind, it's the heroic, this is a solo hero's journey. But from the front, you get the human underneath the mask sort of ideal. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And it was full of weight, full of drama. Ooh, the pathos. Ooh, it's so intense. So then we go to Ned and MJ, and they are at Ned's house. One of my friends is a Filipino gentleman, and it was hilarious because he was with Ned's mum, and Ned's mum was speaking in Filipino, and my mate was just nudging me next to him, going, "I can understand what she's saying. I can understand what she's saying." I was like, "You want to translate for me or no?" So they need to find Peter. They need to find Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. So Ned, after taking the sling ring off of Tom Holland's Peter in the earlier film, after he nicked it off of Doctor Strange, Ned's become quite proficient, and it could be said that he's got some magic in him.
It's alluded to earlier, though, isn't it? But as a joke.
As a joke. My mother says I'm magic.
Yeah, we've all got magic in our fingers or something.
Yeah, because there's this big revelation, obviously, that magic is real. Even, anyway. Ned uses the sling ring to find Spider-Man, to find Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And what happens, Zane? What happens?
So we get to see a Spider-Man look back and run through the portal and jump in, but he's a different height. He's a different voice.
Yeah, his hair has added at least a foot of height.
And it's actually the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yes, it is. Oh, I was so happy to see him. I don't know. I can't. It was so weird. This film in terms of nostalgia. Oh man, it hit me so hard in the feels when I saw Andrew Garfield Spider-Man come, and the way that he proves to MJ, that he is Spider-Man was amazing. Where he just sticks onto the ceiling, and then she's like, "Can you crawl?" And he's like, "Is this not enough?" Like, I think it's enough.
I feel it's enough. Yeah.
And then Ned's mum makes him go and clean a cobweb. It's great. So but what was interesting to me about this as well was that all the villains and stuff have been taken out of the points when just before they die and stuff like that. But this Spider-Man has been taken out of his point after Gwen Stacy died.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's before their deaths. You know what I mean? If it's supposed to be they've been plucked out right before they're about to die. But regardless of that, it's a morbid thought. Man, how did you feel seeing Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man? I felt very happy.
Yeah, exactly. I just like everyone else in the audience, I clapped, I cheered. It was amazing. And his dialogue was almost similar to that of Spider-Verse, where he said, "I was just randomly brought to this world and I saw the news and I've been trying to find him." So that was really cool.
I think it was interesting because a lot of people in the cinema when he appeared, including myself, were like, "Yes, Andrew Garfield." But when they then say, "We're just going to keep going until we find Peter," and then they do it again, and who comes through the next time?
The next one is
Tobey Maguire.
It's Tobey Maguire.
And there was an audible gasp in the cinema when he appeared because, I think a lot of people expected, based on everything that's happened with Andrew Garfield and the interviews he's done, I think a lot of people were I've said it on the podcast a lot. I 100% think that Andrew Garfield's in this film, and I really thought he was going to be. So I was very happy when I saw him. Maguire I was not expecting him to. Honestly, I was not expecting him to be in this film because he is notoriously difficult to kind of lock down and asks for a lot of money and can be quite difficult to work with. Apparently, allegedly, I'm not going to confirm or deny that. So I was not expecting Maguire to turn up, but my God, when he did, I was so happy because, like, first of all, it is the matured, okay with himself Spider-Man that we have not, like, you kind of could see where it was going that way with the Raimi trilogy, where it's like he's been through all this stuff and he's come out the other side, and like he's very confident being Spider-Man. He knows who he is and he knows what he wants, and he's got MJ, he's got the girl, like he's done it, like he is living his best life kind of thing as Spider-Man. And Maguire looked really good as well, like very, like, surprisingly handsome, good for his age. I was like, oh man, you're looking, got some good stuff going on here, Maguire. Nice work.
He doesn't look like, dare I say, like massively overweight, or do you know what I mean? He doesn't look so skew from the role he did 20 years ago.
Yeah. I think he's done some bits and pieces. Like, he was in The Great Gatsby, wasn't he, with Leonardo DiCaprio? He's been in some other bits and pieces, but certainly he's never had the mainstream heights of like the Spider-Man verse. He hasn't had. I can't recall any top billing that he's had in any films recently that have been massive hits. So obviously they then, because they've got two Spider-Men, we have like a little some bits and pieces between the Garfield and Maguire Spider-Man, which was amazing, and then we had just it was just really beautiful seeing the two of them working together on screen and like vibing off each other. And then obviously because there's two Spider-Men, they kind of know he'll have a place to go to where, like, he, a special place to reflect. So like Maguire's like, mine was the Chrysler Building, and then Garfield was like, mine's Empire State, it's a better view. He's like, that is it. And he's like, man, that is a killer view. It's like, does your Spider-Man have anything like that? And then they work out that he's on top of his school. They go there, and it's the first interaction between the three of them, which is just magic. Like, it's just an amazing scene. They each talk about their own individual tragedy. The Garfield one hit me really hard, really hard. It's just so sad. Like, it was just, when you think back of that time, and you think that he never got, like, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man never got the chance for any redemption. Like, that was it. That was the last thing we saw of Garfield's Spider-Man, was Gwen Stacy was dead. And then he fights a big rhino in a mech suit, which they talk about later. But like, how did you feel about the interaction between the three Spider-Men?
It was great in the sense that they instantly knew how to connect with each other, because like it must be hard to write dialogue for essentially three of the same and it not sounding forced or, weird. Yes. So the fact that they were able to connect, not only over the fact that they I guess it's fair to say all of them have lost an Uncle Ben, but at the same time,
sort of,
they found some sort of connectivity, and it was really great. And
it's interesting they did differentiate that, because you're right, because they all have, I mean, we don't really know what happened to the Uncle Ben in the MCU. We don't know what happened to Tom Holland's Uncle Ben, but Garfield's Uncle Ben died, and that's kind of like just skirted over because Gwen Stacy was more of a loss to him at that time. And then obviously Maguire's Uncle Ben was a big time loss. But it was just incredible seeing all of them together on screen in live action. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
One thing I wanted to reflect on just quickly is Tobey Maguire's outfit to begin with is very reminiscent of the Clone Saga Spider-Man, where
it is.
Just in like a bomber jacket, t-shirt, and jeans.
I never noticed that. You're right. It is. Yeah.
And for a moment, I wondered. I was like, is he just going to put the mask and gloves on? But then,
yeah. Oh man, that would have been such a nod. They couldn't do it though. They had to have all three Spider-Men in their spider suits. Possibly, then it could have been your. I mean, we might be in fan theory territory that this was actually the Ben Reilly Peter Parker pretending. Because there is a point in time in the books where Ben Reilly, the real Peter Parker, thinks he's the clone and goes away, and Ben Reilly takes over as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So maybe in the books, maybe this is what maybe the theory is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was actually, because he did seem incredibly chill for that Peter Parker. When you think about the last film, we saw him doing what I can only describe as the Lambada. But you know what I mean? Like, he did seem very relaxed. So yeah, it's an interesting thought. So they obviously come up with a plan together. They have this. What I really loved was they've obviously established in the MCU now that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the new Tony Stark, in the sense of, like, he's that level of genius. He doesn't have the resources of Tony Stark, but if he was to come up with something, if he was needing to understand something, like, they established very well, like, he used the Stark tech to come up with a fix for Doc Ock, like that. He used geometry to beat Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension, like that. He, with the other three Spider-Men, he calculated cures for all of the villains that they'd fought, no problem, in a school science lab. These guys are like, they're high functioning geniuses. And we get some incredible, like, it was all character building amongst the three Spider-Men in this, in the lab whilst they were creating these cures. My two favorite bits of line both came from Andrew Garfield in this, where they were talking about all the cures, and they go, and then we got the lizard, and Garfield's like, "Oh, I've already done it. It's fine. No worries. I got that. Don't worry about it." I was like, they were like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I alrery cured it. It's no problem. Don't worry. I got that." And it's like, okay,
they're just okay. It's a bit awkward, cool. Isn't it? Like, they're just
that's great. Okay. Then there's three bits. Sorry, there's three bits. So it's that bit. There's the bit where Ned calls for Spider-Man, and then they all go, "Yep," and he goes, "Peter, yep, Peter Parker. We're all Peter Parker," which I loved. And then the final bit where they were about to they've come up with the cures. We've had this all big dramatic dialogue, like where Tobey Maguire tells Ned, "Oh, my best friend died in my arms after he tried to kill me." And Ned's just like,
and then you see Andrew Garfield looking over like, "Mine too."
Yeah, it's interesting. He doesn't mention Harry at all, in which I thought was kind of weird. But then I guess you wouldn't, because Harry's the one who did kill Gwen technically.
Yeah.
So I guess it's it's kind of a bit of a weird thing. My favorite line by far out of this whole thing was, going back to what you just showed us on the screen, was they've all got Spider-Man suits on, with the exception of Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield says to him, "Do you have a suit, or are you just planning to go into battle as a new age pastor?" Which was hilarious. That got an audible laugh from most of the people in the cinema.
And then he pulls his t-shirt down slightly, and you can see the suits.
He's always rocking the Spider-Man suit. He's always rocking the Spider-Man suit, ready. Superman style. Yeah, ready to tear that shirt open. So they come onto the final fight sequence, which is on Liberty Island. Which, this was weird. They're building a Captain America shield over the Statue of Liberty's arm.
Yeah.
Why? I thought it was really weird. I didn't know why. I don't know why they were doing that, other than just an excuse to have a construction site there.
Yeah, it is really bizarre, because it's not mentioned in anything else. There's a
radio broadcast telling us that it's happening during the film, like right at the beginning. There's like in the background, you just hear this thing where it's like, they're putting Cap's shield on the Statue of Liberty. How come? But we don't really hear anything else.
Yeah, because here's my thought process. The only time we hear about it beforehand is the latest episode of Hawkeye, where Yelena says, "I want to go to the new Statue of Liberty."
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, then I didn't even pick up on that. But spoilers for Hawkeye, by the way. Spoilers.
And there's the Rogers musical is in one of the web slinging sequences.
Oh, so they're going full on nostalgia for Cap, you reckon?
But then it's kind of like we've had Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there's no mention of
not to mention, a couple of things. First of all, like a US agent kills someone with that shield, like take someone's head off with it. Secondly, there is a Captain America still. His name is Sam Wilson. He is currently Captain America. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I'm all for having a memorial of Steve Rogers. That's fine. But like changing the Statue of Liberty to have a American, Captain America shield. I don't like it. I don't know why they did it. It just felt really weird and very shoehorny of like, oh, we need something for this, so let's put Captain America's shield on.
I hope it's setting something else up. Like,
yeah, I hope so. Look, it's the MCU, so there's a 50% chance it probably will. But even so, it just felt weird. So we have the big battle sequence. I mean, again, I can't do it justice talking about it. They managed to take down all of the villains by curing them. Doc Ock comes back. Has a lovely little moment with what was really nice about it was each of the Spider-Men got moments with each of their villains, which I thought was really nice, really nice. Like Doc Ock and Peter together was like Tobey Maguire's Peter together was lovely. Like that was really nice. Yeah, where Peter's just talking about being lazy. I was like, I love that because there's a line in Amazing
Brilliant but lazy.
Yeah, he's brilliant but lazy.
And,
yeah, exactly.
And he says, "I'll try to do better."
Yes, exactly. Just trying to do better. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Exactly. So I loved all of that. I really enjoyed the when Electro was cured and Max and Garfield's like they have an interaction, and it's a very nice, like it's a genuinely nice scene between the two of them, where it's like Garfield's like, you were special before you became Electro, like, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. We get the meme where it's like, which one's Spider-Man 1? Are you Spider-Man 1? I thought I was Spider-Man 1. No, you were Spider-Man 1. I'm Spider-Man 3. Are you Spider-Man? Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3. That was great. Like, that was amazing. I loved that. The fight sequences where they were working in tandem with each other, that was hilarious as well. Where Tom Holland goes, listen, I'm part of the Avengers. And Maguire goes, that's great. What is that?
And then you've got... Andrew turns around and he's like, are you in a band? Is it
a band? You're in a band. Yeah, punk rock Spider-Man. Yeah. It was just brilliant. Like that whole bit of the three of them interacting together was amazing. We got the amazing shot from the Brazilian trailer where we actually see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man kicking Lizard in the face now, where we see what was taken out. Yeah, and the whole fight sequence was just awesome.
Can we also just touch on the 21 questions about body webbing?
Oh yes, that was good. Yes. So the other two Spider-Men, so Garfield and Holland, wanted to understand how Maguire's webbing was produced and if it just came out of his wrists. And they didn't really explain it. It was just kind of one of those things where he just does it. So it was interesting. I'm trying to think of what else happened in this scene. There was so much to go through. Ned and MJ are trying to like keep the box away from the villains so that they don't destroy it, so that they've got this fail-safe to send them back. Ned inadvertently summons Doctor Strange back. And at that point, the box gets destroyed by Green Goblin. And in doing so, it fractures reality, and all of the people who know who Peter Parker is across all dimensions, across all realities, start to flood through into this reality. So we get a whole bunch of silhouettes.
I was going to say, on this subject, those silhouettes, those people, in the branches, the fractures, were there any specific ones you could figure out? Or
I saw Rhino. Rhino was definitely in one of them. Right. I'm trying to think of. I saw there was somebody. Craven the Hunter was in.
I was going to say. I think Craven was one of them with a spear.
Yeah, with the big spear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously a bunch of Spider-Man villains, and who knows what else was in that. I'm sure somebody will freeze frame that, and we'll get a load of different load of guys on that. But yeah, anyway, long and short of it is, we'll also talk very briefly about the scene beforehand where they were talking about their villains, because I thought it was very interesting that they were talking about the villains that they fought. Yeah. And Garfield, they were obviously, Tom Holland was talking about Thanos.
Yeah.
And then Maguire talked about Venom and fighting a weird alien black goo monster. And then Garfield was like, I wish I'd fought an alien. All I had was a Russian gangster in a mechanical rhino suit. But it's interesting that they do set up that now Tom Holland has some context for the alien goo and whether or not it's a baddie or not. I mean, that'll be interesting to see in the future. But yes. So at the end of the fight sequence, it ends basically with Holland and Green Goblin, because I'm just going to refer to them by the actors' names because it's much easier than saying.
It is much easier, yeah.
So Holland and Goblin were on the destroyed shield having a fight.
Yeah.
Which Holland wins and beats the hell out of him.
Just before that, MJ falls.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. So yeah, there's a sequence where MJ falls off the Statue of Liberty and is quite clearly going to die. And Tom Holland goes to save her, but gets swatted out of the way by Green Goblin, which means, oh dear, she's gonna die, until Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man comes in and catches her and saves her and gets a kind of redemption for his Gwen Stacy dying. And you're right, we definitely should mention that, because it was a beautiful piece of the movie, and I was like, I'm so happy that they got that in there, because it was so worth it. And I loved Andrew Garfield in this. It made me want to do honestly, the byproduct I got out of all of this was like, you know what, to hell with these other Spider-Verse movies like Morbius and Craven and whatever you want to do. Just take the Andrew Garfield version and the Tobey Maguire version and make their follow-up movies and call them Spider-Verse movies. That's all I would literally pay money if MCU, like if the creative team at Marvel, who are working on the MCU currently, if they want to be involved in the writing process, I would pay money to see a Maguire-led Spider-Man 4 where he's fighting, I don't know, I don't even care who it is, Hydro Man, for all I care. I would pay money to see like Andrew Garfield fighting Venom. I'd love to see Andrew Garfield. Imagine if Venom is in Andrew Garfield's universe. Like, imagine if we got it wrong and the Tom Hardy Venom is actually in that universe instead, and that's his Venom. Like, I would love to see that kind of. It doesn't have to be like people like Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man. They don't want to see Morbius. I don't care. Anyway. So yes, Andrew Garfield gets a redemption with MJ being saved. After that, we get the fight between Goblin and Holland on the shield, and Holland goes to kill him. Like Spider-Man goes full on death blow. Like he's gonna stab him with the glider, and he is gonna kill Willem Dafoe's Goblin before he's stopped by Maguire's Spider-Man, who stops him from committing that act that he'll never be able to go back from.
Which is perfect because again, it's another redemption for that character. He lets the William Dafoe version get impaled, so he stopped him getting impaled.
Yes. And then for his troubles, he gets stabbed.
But it's similar to what you said, like with the Andrew Garfield one, that sequence as well, where he's diving, but it's such a more frantic dive because he's pushing debris out of the way, where before, a lot of Spider-Man dives, they weave through the debris, so it's a lot more frantic and such. But when he does catch it and he instantly breaks down, I almost cried.
Yeah, it choked me up as well. I found it really hard, and the fact that MJ then goes, "Are you okay?" Like when she's the one who's almost died. I was like, that was great. It was so well done, that whole scene. It was brilliant. I loved the biggest come out of this was like Andrew Garfield's like Spider-Man did not have enough of a fair swing. He needed more. Like he needed more with like. His writing and his work could have been incredible. Like he could have been an amazing Spider-Man. He still was really good as Spider-Man. Yeah. I have no issues with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone make those films watchable. I've said it a million times before. Yeah. I will keep saying it. It's not their fault that those films weren't successful. They were great in it. It's just unfortunate that the writing was not good for it at all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Avi Arad. So anyway, Doctor Strange is trying to stop everyone from coming through. We see how powerful Doctor Strange is again. We've another display of the uber power that is Doctor Strange, where he's also,
literally Green Goblin got cured.
Oh yeah, Green Goblin got cured. Yes, sorry. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, it's an afterthought. I forgot to mention that. But we do see how OP, how OP Doctor Strange is. Because he is literally sealing dimensional tears as they are happening, until he can do so no more, because it has drained all of him. But amazing, like it was the visual of that where he's atop the Statue of Liberty and he's literally just repairing the universe as it's breaking. I was like, that is awesome. And then him and Holland's Peter have a conversation. He can't fix it permanently. However, he can fix it if everybody forgets who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was very weird. Because it's kind of a weird writing loophole where it's like, yeah, everyone will forget who Peter Parker is, but everyone still remembers Spider-Man. Okay. So what you're telling me now is we're going to have an Avengers situation where none of the Avengers know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really like that, but that's...
After this, I thought he's not going to be an Avenger anymore. Like...
He definitely is. He 100% is.
He is an Avenger, unquestionably, but I don't think they'll use him again. That's where my thoughts were going.
What do you mean?
I thought this was the perfect way to... If Sony wanted to say, this is ours now.
No,
I felt like that.
No, it's not though. Feige has confirmed.
Not. I know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that they can't not have him as an Avenger. Feige has confirmed that he's going to be in the next kind of MCU movie. Like he's going to be in the next crossover Avengers movie. Feige's already said that. This is why I was like, they've kind of written themselves into a corner, similar to like the time travel situation with Endgame, where it's like it gets a bit loopy, timey-wimey. Now nobody remembers who Peter Parker is, and it's like, well, how does that mean he didn't go to school? Does that mean he doesn't have a G? Like he was supposed to be training for his GED. Yeah, and is he going to go to Empire State University now? Like, what's the deal? What's going forward with this? So, yeah, it was a bit of a conceit. I think they're going to play fast and loose with it. I would imagine that certain people will remember him. They'll probably say, oh yeah, everyone in the world at that time will forget about him, but probably Wong will still remember him or some stuff because he was like in an alternate dimension or something, or like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or there'll be something with the TVA where they'll be able to like, make him be known again or something. It just felt really like, or Mephisto, maybe it's an introduction to Mephisto where it'll be like, that'll be the ultimate temptation. But it was a nice way to like wipe the slate clean, to say like, no more Ned, no more MJ. Yeah. None of them remember him, which I think will set up. I personally think they'll probably go with the Gwen Stacy route now. I think Tom Holland will have a Gwen Stacy.
I'll contest that. I think they'll do Felicia Hardy next.
That is a good shout. That's a very good shout. Yeah, I can see them doing that. Yes, I can see them doing that. And that was pretty much the end of the movie, guys. We get Spider-Man living his life in New York in the apartment that we're all kind of semi-familiar with, him living in an apartment and
being broke.
No
more Stark handouts.
No more Stark handouts, correct. And that's it. And that's, he's made the ultimate sacrifice. by giving up everything he loved to save everything. It was amazing, this film. Again, I'm going to say it again. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. It was why you would watch a podcast without seeing it, but I don't know. But if you have seen it, go and see it again, because I'm certainly going to go and see it again, because there was so much in it to absorb, and I need to go back and watch it again. It was great.
Should we go through these live chats, or should we go into mid credits?
I'm conscious that we've been going for a while. We should probably go into mid and end credits and then call it a wrap. So I apologize for the live chat people who are out there. There was a lot to cover in this episode. There was a lot to cover. Well, the first end credits or mid credits was Venom. So we saw at the end of Let There Be Rubbish, Let There Be Carnage. Yes. He ported his way over into the MCU, presumably. So I was talking to my brother about this after we left. So this whole thing was a setup for the Sinister Six. There was only 5 of them.
Yeah.
But then Venom was there as well. So I assume Venom was supposed to be the 6th, but just never turned up.
Sounds like Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I mean, so I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, that he went back to his own reality. That was kind of a bit of a like, oh, that sucks. That seems like a waste of a thing. But he did leave behind a little present, didn't he, Zane?
He did. He did leave a teeny tiny smidge of symbiote in the MCU world, or universe, shall we say.
My question to you on this, is that teeny tiny bit of symbiote Venom, a part of Venom, or is it a technical offspring? Because we know that the symbiote reproduces.
That's a very good question.
I was theorizing maybe they're not going to go down the Venom route. Maybe they might bring in someone like Toxin, which was supposed to be the Carnage symbiote offspring. But maybe they're going to do it a different way. It just feels weird that it would be like you're going to have Venom, but not Venom.
Yeah. This is the other thing as well, is how would he know that Tom Holland was Spider-Man? Because that's the whole purpose of the spell, to bring all those people in from other dimensions.
He wouldn't. I don't think that. I think that's the point. But he'll know who Spider-Man is, because everyone remembers who Spider-Man is, but nobody remembers who Tom Holland's Spider-Man is.
But then, did he know? Do we know that Venom's version of Tom Hardy's Venom knows of a Spider-Man? Because that hasn't been confirmed or denied, has it? Nope. So how does he know who Spider-Man is to be brought into the MCU to begin with?
Oh, he knows because he saw it on this. Like, if you at the end of Let There Be Carnage, that was the whole after credits, was like he was licking the screen because it was revealed that he was Spider-Man.
How does he know to be brought in? Is the question, though.
What? How does he know to be brought in?
Yeah, because the spell is everyone who knows who Spider-Man is brought into the MCU.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, how did he? Yeah. Well, to be fair, we've never established what the symbiote knows and what it doesn't know.
Which is there's a fan theory that because it's a hive mind, it knows what the Tobey Maguire symbiote knows.
Interesting. Yeah. I still have a theory that symbiote is the same symbiote, to be honest with you, because we don't really see it die. I mean, you see it kind of like disappear a little bit, but you never see it anyway. It's a much for a muchness. It was. I thought the mid-credit scene was a bit weak sauce, to be honest with you. It was nice to see Tom Hardy, but like I was kind of just like, oh, that's a real shame that they didn't do anything between Venom and Tom Holland. Like that's really. I don't like that. I mean, I like the fact that Venom's in the MCU now, in the sense of like the symbiote's there, but like still, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we haven't even established who the Eddie Brock is in this universe either. So,
unless it goes either straight to Flash Thompson or Gargan,
if it honestly, if it goes to either one of them before latching onto Spider-Man, I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna absolutely hate it. For a start, Gargan needs to be Scorpion before he's actually Venom. We still haven't seen, we've still not seen Scorpion in this universe, because I want Michael Mondo to be. I want Michael Mondo to be Scorpion. He is incredible. And we've already seen like a little, he's already turned up at the end of Homecoming. So yeah, anyway, it is what it is. But yes, a weak sauce mid-credits, I thought this one. However, the end credits was definitely not weak sauce. Oh my God. The end credits for Spider-Man No Way Home, guys, was the first trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And oh my Lord, does it look good? Wow. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? They've given us Spider-Man, they've given us Daredevil, they've given us so many, bits, Venom. Now they're giving us this. Like, this movie is a treasure of riches. It was amazing.
I wasn't expecting a full-blown trailer, neither.
No, me neither. No. I think, well, we probably could talk about this in another episode, the trailer. We could probably do a breakdown of it, or do a reaction, like a post-reaction trailer to it when it comes out and hits the web.
Yeah.
I think some takeaways from that trailer, just very quickly, is America Chavez is in it. Very distinctly see her jacket with the American, the star on the back. Shuma-Gorath is in it.
Yes.
We get it pretty much confirmed. Shuma-Gorath is in it. We get scenes of Mordo is back.
Mordo's back.
Rocking a delicious haircut. I was like, oh, you handsome devil, you look fantastic.
So earlier I said a friend messaged me asking who he thought it was Kang, a variant of Kang, but with dreadlocks.
Right. Okay.
So it's like,
I'm not going.
I'm sorry, but
I'm not going down the they don't all look alike route. There you go. Interesting. And the biggest takeaway for me, and the one that made me go holy sh in the cinema, we see the what if version of Doctor Strange at the end of this trailer, with Mordo's line of "the most dangerous thing in the multiverse, Stephen, is you." And it is literally the Doctor Strange from What If, the one that absorbed all of the evil entities, and we last saw protecting the Ultron Infinity Stone thing. And it was amazing. And the trailer was incredible. And I was like, wow, where's Zane in here with his camcorder so I can get an instant reaction to this?
Camcorder. That was incredible because it makes What If even more tangible. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100% more canon.
Yeah.
I feel like you already said it was canon, but like now it's definitively big screen canon as well, which was just amazing.
Some sort of ramifications. Yes. Which is great. I think it's often referred to. I'm just having a quick look at my notes. I think he's referred to as the Sorcerer Strange or Strange Sorcerer.
No, wasn't it the
dark version?
I can't remember.
Because there's action figures of it.
It was like the Supreme Sorcerer, wasn't it, or something like that? Supreme Strange or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's not important. It's not important at the moment.
It's not important, but it's Strange Supreme.
Strange Supreme. That was it. That was the one. That's it. Yes, Strange Supreme. Yes, him. It was him. Which also probably brings into mind that they're probably going to do Peggy Carter as well as Captain Carter.
Yeah, because there was a S.H.I.E.L.D. logo that they just put on their social medias, but unsure if that was going to be like a new comic book series or anything else. But who knows? It could be just as much live action now. Knowing that. Well be.
Yeah, we just don't know. That's the point. But man, what an amazing surprise to have at the end of that film, and it just really sums up. Like it put the cherry on top of what was an incredibly delicious cake of a film. No Way Home is remarkable. I don't know how else to say it. This was easily the best thing they've done since Endgame. Easily. I loved the TV stuff very much, and I love Loki, and I've loved Hawkeye, but like this thing, man, was just another level of brilliance. Like so well done, so well put together, so impressive that they managed to keep all the secrets. even with the spoilers, it's still worth a watch as well. So hands down, incredible. So yeah, we've been going quite a while, guys. My apologies. I didn't think we were going to go in depth and cover as much as we did, but it turns out there was quite a lot to cover about this movie. So thank you all for those who have stuck with us and listening to this and going through. But as always, we want to hear what you guys thought of Spider-Man No Way Home. What do you think of the MCU as a whole moving forward? What do you think of Spider-Man as a whole moving forward? Where do you see the series going from here? Let us know in the comments on YouTube. Let us know on all of your podcasting platforms, or just get in touch with us, nerds.undisputed@gmail.com. Got it right that time. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. Zane, where can they find you?
You'll be able to find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube, Zane_Taicho. All the relevant links will be in the description down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm happy to hear them. Of course, try and keep it spoiler-free for others in the comments as well. Maybe some haven't seen it.
That is definitely... I will say this, guys. For those of you who are watching this after watching the film, please avoid... We were told in the cinema when we left, don't talk about it until you get outside because you don't want to ruin it for the next people coming in. And I'm so happy they did that because 100% this deserves to be seen in its purest form because I geeked out so many times at so many moments that I didn't know were coming. And it would have been disappointing to me if I'd have had it ruined beforehand. So definitely keep it secret. You can reach me on Instagram at Gentleman the Gamer or on Twitch, twitch.tv/GentlemanTheGamer. Got my last stream on Monday before Christmas, and then I have a break until the new year. So come along. I think I'll be doing a joint stream with a friend of mine playing Little Hope. And I have little hope that I will ever finish it. So let's see. But yes, thank you guys. Thank you for sticking with us. Zane, any further thoughts?
Nothing at the top of my head. All I can say is thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. And no doubt catch you next week where we've got even more to talk about. Loads more.
I know, even more. It's going crazy over Christmas. All right. Thanks very much, guys. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.